Hello guys, so today I'm sort of trying a different kind of video. We're going to talk about Payday 3 and the sort of weird state it's in at the moment. So sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy me yapping for the next 15 minutes or so. I just want to give a quick disclaimer. I may be wrong, I know, shocking, but some of these facts I haven't researched enough on. This is sort of just a video I made on the whim. So if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments below. This video is not meant to hate on the dev team, but more to try and bring inspiration. And if anyone else feels similar about this game. So with player counts being extremely low, Payday releases an update with 4 hours of gameplay. So this is a good step in the overall goal I actually wanted to talk about and my hopes of the future of the game. I really enjoyed the idea of the quests and challenges that we had when the game first came out, but they weren't implemented good at all. Which these contracts, they're a cool start. I get that, and I think they're going to be expanded on later. But as you can see by the watermark on the screen, promises and Payday don't go very well together. For some context about that, we were promised an offline mode. I don't even know how long ago, and we've been stuck with this solo beta for what feels like forever. So for releasing updates more frequently, I can appreciate it, but what I think the game truly needs is an entire refresh instead of these small monthly updates that really don't mean anything. So what do I mean by that? I think the game needs to stop sort of adding new features and go more back and fix the flaws that the game already has. The skill system update we had a little while back was an amazing step in this direction. It's still an update I enjoy to this day. So, what is the main problem? I think the game is trying too hard to fit sort of this realistic persona. And that's just my opinion. But one of my favorite memories of Payday 2 is fighting a dozer with a crossbow with explosive arrows, being surrounded by a bunch of cops, and just absolutely massacring them. It's almost like an arcade game. And that's sort of what I imagine Payday is. It's not a realistic heist game. You're really telling me that 4 people are taking down an entire state's police force and they're trying to be realistic? Can we please go back to Payday 2's sort of arcade-like feeling? I think they should add, even though I said don't add more stuff, but let's sort of, instead of adding all these new guns that almost feel the same, let's add some more crazy, stupid guns. Sort of like how Jacket's Overkill weapon, just being able to run around with a bat, being almost invincible. It's just really fun. It's way more fun than sitting in a room, spraying the meta build at the cops that feel fake while my character is trying too hard to be real. So I'm kind of rambling, but the contract update, it's a good step in sort of this direction I'm talking about because it's sort of fixing problems. It's fixing the game features of repetitiveness instead of adding another heist that'll become repetitive and after beating it 5 times. But I think we should add more of the arcade style first before we start adding all these contract updates or new contracts, not new contract updates. Now, I'd like to hear other Payday players' opinions because obviously this isn't just my game, but from all my friends who play Payday, they can all agree that goofiness of Payday 2 was what made it fun. I'd like to hear if any other Payday players are watching this. What are y'all's opinions? What made Payday 2 so much more fun for y'all? So I've sort of listed a problem and a solution. But let's not be too hard on Payday. I still love the game. So let's look at some of the progress the dev team has made so they sort of know what to keep doing. So Skills and Armor 2.0 were some great updates. They aren't super recent, but during the past, I think, year or so, which those are the type of updates I'm exactly looking for. It changes a core game system that makes the existing game more fun, but adding more and more paid heists. Now, I do own every DLC in the game, because I'm trying to fund the game's development, but paid DLCs definitely aren't the way to go. I think we need another revamp of core gameplay features, making the guns more arcade-like, and I think another cool idea would adding some cool types of ammo, like explosive or poison rounds, and overall, just adding funny crap, like a giant spoon from Payday 2 that you can just beat an armored SWAT officer to death with. Okay, that sounds a little weird now that I think about it. So I did say we should not add new things, but I don't necessarily mean don't add more guns or just overall gameplay features. What I mean is stop adding what feels like the same weapon over and over again. That's what half the weapons in Payday 3 feel like. It's the same weapon over and over. Payday 2, there were so many different kinds of weapons, it felt different. So, instead of adding another pistol, let's add a shotgun with explosive shells. Obviously, you'd have to balance out something cool like that, but that cool stuff is what makes Payday such an amazing game. So in a future of Payday blog I'll put up on the screen, they do actually talk about some of the ideas I'm promoting. They are reworking some of the problems with heists instead of adding new heists with new problems. Now obviously, I don't mean all the new heists are bad. Some of my favorite heists actually are the DLC ones. But eventually, as all the heists, they do get repetitive. They state they want to increase randomness, which is obviously a great step in reducing repetitiveness, which is the biggest thing I dislike after over 100 hours on this game. So obviously, I support the rework of the heists, but maybe just add some cool arcade-like features. I know I keep dragging the arcade-like word, but I think adding more arcade-like features with it would make a whole new fun experience. But obviously, revamping content eventually isn't enough. Because people just don't want to play the same thing for 3 years straight. They want some variety. So, if we do need to resort to adding new content, what's the best way to do it? Well, let's start by not locking it behind a paywall, because that stops a new player base from actually enjoying it. I think the only ones buying another DLC in 2026 are the die-hard fans like me who would never quit the game. A great new idea is instead of new heists, what about the beloved melee system from Payday 2? I don't know if anyone else enjoyed it as much as me, but as I stated earlier, I found the giant spoon hilarious, and adding tons of funny melee weapons like that are actually useful would be a semi-small but amazing update to bring players back on the game. They don't have to be as overpowered as the melee overkill weapons, but just good enough to maybe 2 or 3 tap an enemy. So I've been yapping for a while now. I'd like to hear what y'all think. What updates would you like to see? Because if this managed to reach a larger audience, I wouldn't want my opinions to dictate this game that a few thousand people still do enjoy. So do you enjoy the realistic style or the old sort of arcade style? If you like the realistic style, let's look into how we could make this without ruining the game for the opposing opinion. So, as we've seen, adding more heists isn't always the best option. So what if we add another difficulty? So I used to be kind of horrified of playing max difficulty death sentence in Payday 2 because I knew I'd be cooked if I was ever in the open. Like I think you get like 3 tapped or something. But in Payday 3, max difficulty, which is only overkill, it's a breeze, dude. If they added 2 harder difficulties, actually presented a real challenge, I think that would bring back the fun for tons of players. Mix this with a couple new weapons and skill trees, and we might have the best Payday update since, well, ever. Another cool thing that could come with this is working on the current update, the contracts update. If we added these new, very hard difficulties, I feel like you could make some really cool challenges. Because cook-off on Overkill getting all loot, it's a little hard, but there's a strategy. I guarantee you can do it within a couple attempts if you know what you're doing. But if we had a new, harder difficulty, like Mayhem, Death Wish, or even Death Sentence from Payday 2, dude, that would be so hard, and you mix that, add some more cool challenges and other heists, and you have yourself an amazing update that brings 10, 20, maybe even more hours of gameplay for players of all skill levels. Because the good thing with new skill levels is not forcing people to get better at the game. If you're bad at the game, you can still play at lower difficulties. But for experienced people like me, adding a new challenge would make the game so much more fun. So if you did enjoy me yapping for the past 10 minutes, please let me know by commenting. I'm trying to figure out what I want to make videos on more in the future. And if you want another type of video, please comment below. I'm really open to making anything at this point. But if you did enjoy this, also please let me know so I know to keep making it. Thank you so much if you made it this far in the video. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Peace.